After watching this video, you will be able to create views from the levels in the project and add them to the sheets that you specify in an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to show you how you can assign scope boxes to the views and also how you can add view templates to the views as well. And I'm also going to show you how you can add prefixes and suffixes to the view names. In order to make this script work, you need to have 3 additional packages for this to work. And these are Archilab, Rhythm, and Steam Notes. And I will put a link in the description below where you can download it. Let's jump into the video. This is the script that I'm going through today, and I will explain each node to you. So if you're not that familiar with Dynamo, you will also have a chance to understand what is going on there. So this is the basic sample project from Autodesk that we're going to use for this example. And these are the views that we're going to create with the script. And these are the sheets that we're also going to create. First of all, we need to have a test sheet, so to speak, where you have to create it manually in Revit first. So what it basically is just a sheet with a view on top of it, because we actually need the viewport. So we can actually specify the location for all the other views that we're going to create on the sheets with the script itself. As we are creating the views from the levels, we're going to specify which type of levels that we're going to create the views from. So I've just added 2 additional levels here with another type. I've called it reference levels. It could be working levels, for example, and you don't want to create views from these levels. So it's really important that we specify that in the script. First of all, we want to get the levels by creating a categories node. So we can actually, it's just a drop down menu, and you can just select what category you want from the Revit project. And this will be the levels in this case. And what we also want to do is to add the node all elements of categories. I want to have these levels ordered by their elevation, because now you can see level 1, level 2, and suddenly we have level 1 again here. So we want to do that with a list sort by function node, as you can see here. And what it needs an input here, and this will be the level.elevation node. It's just sorting the elevation right here, as you can see. What we also want to do is to get the type parameter from these elements right here. We can do that by creating a parameter by name node right here. So, and this is the type that we're getting. You can see all the types here, the 8mm head as I showed you before, and then we have the reference level that these were the additional levels that I created so we can actually sort them out. We actually need to remove these strings here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters that we want to remove, so we are only working with this information right here. And we can do that by, first of all, creating a string from object node to some sort of translate this information into a string, so this string remove node can actually read it. So it has 3 inputs: the string, start index, and the count. The start index here is 0 because we're starting from 0, which is right here. And then we're counting 7 characters, 1, 2, 3, up till here. And then after that, we need to specify in a equal node, which is true and which is false here. And the true in this case will be the 8mm head, because these levels are the ones that we are going to create the views from. And as you can see, I have a node here with input, because this will be an input in the Dynamo Player itself. And I'm going to explain you later on what the Dynamo Player is and how we can use it. After that, we need to export that information into a list filter by Boolean mask. And what it needs the list here will be the list from the list sort by function node, and then the mask here, which we just specified here. We just actually remove these strings. The output here will be the in and out. So the in is the list of the trues, and the out is the list of the falses, these reference levels. Now we can create our floor plans. Actually, you can create the floor plans without all this here. This is just for sorting the levels and filter it out. So yeah, we need to export that information into the floor plan view by level node. And after that, we can add the prefixes and the suffixes to the view names that we just created. The prefix is something that you have before the name, and then the suffix is something that you have after. We have all the level names here, and then we need to import these we need to export these level names into the string.join node right here, which has 3 inputs. The separator will actually be the name of the level. Then we have string 0, which will be the view name prefix. The original name of this is not a view name prefix. That is just something that I've created by right-clicking and rename the node itself. And these are inputs, because we also need to specify that in the Dynamo Player itself. So string 0, string 1. We need to export that information into the value of this element set parameter by name node. It's really important that we set the lacing to longest, and we can do that by right-click here and go to lacing and set it to longest. It's just to make sure that you have the whole lists. It will not create an error, but it will just not take all the lists. The parameter name will be the view name here. So the view name right here, see? View name. We need that. We just need that parameter. So what we also can do with this is add view templates to the views, and that is really a time saver itself. And we can do that by creating an element set parameter by name node, and then it has these 3 inputs here. It needs the element. We can take the element from the floor plan view by level node here, because these are the levels. And then we can specify in the parameter name it's the view template that we are going to set the parameter to, and we are working with the value, which will be the view templates. And here it's a drop down menu. You can just choose what view template you want to use. And again, this is also an input, so we can actually do that in Dynamo Player as well. And again, set the lacing to longest. We need to get something from the Revit project, and you can do this in different ways. But for me, I think it's just easier to just get the categories node, and then you have a drop down menu. You can just select the categories, and then you can just add the all elements of category nodes. I'm not going to show you the other way to do this, because this is simple and it works. So anyway, when we have these selected, we are going to choose the scope boxes that we are going to use in the project itself. So we can do that by, first of all, create a list git item at index node. It will need the lists, which will be the scope boxes here, and the index here is 0, which is specified in a code block. Why is it 0? That is because, let's say that we have a lot of scope boxes. Now I only have 1 here. So in this list, I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit. You can see this 0 here, and that is what we are specifying in this code block here. So we're getting that item, right? We're getting that element. I've created an element name here, so I can actually see what I am talking about here, because this is just numbers, and I don't know what the name of the scope boxes are. So that's basically what it is. After that, we can assign the scope box to the views by creating this set parameter by name again, and then define what we're going to set. And with this will be the scope box, and the value will be the scope boxes that we just chose. So, and then again, set the lacing to longest, so we will be sure that we will have the whole list, so to say. So after that, what we're going to do now is to get the sheets from the Excel spreadsheet that we have here. This is a very basic thing to do when you're working with Dynamo, because this is very repetitive, what I'm going to show right now. So first of all, this is a file path node that we have right here. I have just renamed the node here to Excel file containing sheet numbers and names, because we can click here and browse our computer for the Excel spreadsheet. And then you can just select that, create a file from path node to actually translate what is going on here to the data import Excel node here. The data import Excel node, first of all, we need the file right here, and then we have the sheet name. And the sheet name is, we can actually see it right here. So this is our Excel spreadsheet, and the sheet name is the first sheet here, for example. So you need to specify this, and this is case sensitive, so we need to write it exactly how it is. And then we have the read as strings here, and we need to create a Boolean node and set it to false. And then we have this show Excel import here, and I also set this to false, and you can set it to true if you want to have the script to open your Excel spreadsheet every time you hit run on this script, and I don't want that, so I've set it to false. Yeah, I'm gonna explain to you this because the data import Excel node that we have right here, when you go and search on Google, YouTube, and so on, you can see in older videos that this node here is called Excel read from file. So just be aware of this if you see older videos on YouTube, for example. So the new name is data import Excel. Well, now we have the lists right here. So we have the sheet number, sheet name, and so on here. So what it takes right now is the sheet number and the sheet name here. So this will be the first row here. This is the first list. And then it takes the A100 foundation. A100 foundation. But we need to actually order it in another way. So what we need to do first is to get the first item here, which will be the sheet number, sheet name. So this is the first item here. This is the first row. We need to get rid of that, so to speak, because we don't need to work with this. And after that, we need to have the list rest of items node. So we can basically list the rest of the items here, which will be the A100 foundation and so on. So you can see how that works. So we just get rid of the sheet number and the sheet name. And what we're going to do now is we're going to transpose this list here. And what that means is that, let's just open up this again. And then you can see the first list here is A100 to A105. So this is this column right here. So now instead of the rows, we have the columns right here specified in this way, right? So, and we need a code block here to specify which lists that we are going to export into the sheet by name, number, title, block, and view node. That was a long name. So the sheet name will be list 1, as we see here. This is the sheet names, right? And then we have the sheet numbers here, which is the list 0. After that, we have the title block family type. So this is the title block, and I've chosen the A1 metric. So yeah, you need to see what title block you have in your own project. Yeah, I'm gonna explain this because this is very something important. So I've created this drafting view by name node and a code block to specify the empty. This node right here is creating the sheets, but it will also need to create the views. But we don't want this node here to create the views, because as you remember before, we have another node to create the views for us. We just want this node here to execute so it will work for us. Okay, so we need to have an empty view here. So yeah, and then we need to get the location of the reference sheet view. So this is the reference sheet, with the view on top of it that I've created first of all. So let's just go into this one again. And then first of all, we need to have a reference sheet node. And then we can, from the drop down menu, choose the actual sheet that we're going to have as a reference sheet. The original name of this rhythm node here is sheets. And this will also be an input for the Dynamo Player. And then we need the sheets.viewports node here, so that we'll have this viewport, because the viewport is actually what is creating our reference for all the other views that we are going to create. Then we need a get item and an index, because we need to say that we need this list from the code block 0. We need this viewport here, right? And then we can actually just create a list right here. So we need to create a node from the Steam Nodes package. As I told you before, you can download it from the description below this video. And this is a Viewport Box sender node, and what it does, it will actually just take the coordinates from the viewport itself in the Revit project. And let me just show you really quickly what I mean by that. So what we actually want, we want the location of that viewport. I'm just gonna click it back to no title again. It was just to show you the example of what the viewport is. So let's go back to the script here. So now we have now that we have the coordinates right here, we have to actually repeat the item of that list by with a list count nodes. We need to create 6 of these. Repeat the item of the coordinates that we have right here. So we have 6 of them here, right? Basically what this flatten node does is that it will just create the list as one list and not 6 lists. And so now we can actually use that information and export it into the location of this rhythm node that we want to have here. So this is the group place views on sheets. We want to create the viewport.create node here, and then we need the sheets from this node right here. And then the view will be all the views that we created in this floor plan view by level node, and the location will be this location from these coordinates that we specified up here. Yeah, so now that we have all the viewport types here, we don't have a clue of what their names are. So we need to have an element.name node to specify the names of it. And we want to work with the no title viewport right now. So that is number 1. And so we're going back here and see what is number 1. Oh, it's this one. So now we're going to use these numbers right here. And we're going to specify, we're going to add these numbers in a code block right here. And then we need we need to export that information to the type ID in this change family type node here. The element will be all the viewports that we have right here. So, yeah, this node is from Archilab. So now we can actually try to place the views on the sheets and actually create everything. We can create the views and we can create the sheets and assign the scope boxes, and we can assign the view templates to it as well. So remember here that we have this one, it will not create the views, and this one will create the views instead for us. So actually, let's just try to create them right now. So now let's keep an eye on the floor plans right here and also the sheets that we have right here. So I'm just gonna go here and hit F5 and see what is going on here to run the script. Yeah, so as you can see, we have now created all our views right here, and then we have created all the sheets. So let's just take this sheet, for example, and let's check it out. So what we have created now is the sheet here with the view here. That is basically what we want to achieve. So everything is matching right now. I'm also going to show you that the actual view on the sheet is exactly the same location as our reference sheet here, right? So that is really, really cool, and it will save you a ton of time. So let me also just let's have a look at this view here. For example, we assigned the scope box 1 here, you remember that, right? And we also assigned the view template to the view itself, which will be the architectural plan in this for this example. And we also created the prefixes here, and then the suffix right here. So everything is working, as you can see. And now let's have a look at the Dynamo Player. And the Dynamo Player is really useful because you don't want to actually go into the script every time. You can easily just select things from the Dynamo Player. And let's say that you have someone in your organization that you want to give the script to, then you can just tell the person that, hey, it works like this, so you can just use Dynamo Player and it will work like this. So yeah, it will be easier for the person. So let me just go to that right now. The Dynamo Player is working from Revit 2017.1 and up. You can go up here to Dynamo Player, and then you can run the script from that. So here you have the browse folder here. You can just browse the folder where your scripts are. And then here you can view the current folder, and here you can refresh everything. So what I'm going to show you now is that now I have this script here. Then you can go to the edit inputs. Let's click on that one. So here you can see that the inputs is needed. I have a reference sheet here down here that needs the input. So I will just click on that one. And then it says ready up here. So now we can actually just run this script. And let's have a look and see how it works. Yeah, so now you can see over here I created all the views and all the sheets with the views on it. And you can see here the run is completed. So if you have errors or something like that, then you will have that it's with errors, and then you can actually go into the script and see what you did wrong. Sometimes you did not actually choose your sheet or whatever. So yeah, you have to check up on that sometimes. So all these you see here is actually the inputs that we created in the script. You remember that we right-clicked and then went to this is input. So you set the node as an input if you wanted to play in this Dynamo Player. So here you can easily change everything. That is the purpose of this. And here you don't have to go into the script every time. You can just say, the view name suffix, I want something else, and you can type it here. And here you just have the drop down menu, so you can choose whatever you want. So this is the view templates. And here you can just browse the Excel spreadsheet and yeah, and so on. And here you have this sheet 1, and you can choose the title block. It's also a drop down menu, and it actually works really good. Thank you so much for watching this video today, and if you want more content like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and have a good one.